Texas on the west side of the Houston area at the Merrill Center. The Southland Conference celebrating its 50th anniversary has matched the... Go! And off and running we go. First Northwestern State, the whoa portion of that. Joining Daquan Hicks, the Southland Conference Newcomer of the Year is Davis, Gary Stewart, Patrick Robinson. Katy, Texas, the Merrill Center. The next team into the NCAA tournament will either be Stephen F. Austin or Northwestern State. So, Mark, what are we looking for to try and figure out where the pace is going and who's successfully getting the whoa or the go implemented?
If the pace ends up at a 50 to 60 point pace, big advantage for Stephen F. Austin. If it's above 70, huge advantage for Northwestern State.
So Stephen F. Austin from Nacogdoches, Texas in the whites. Northwestern State from Natchitoches, Louisiana is in the purple. And Taylor Smith, the Southland Conference Player of the Year, misses on his first look for Stephen F.
The stingiest defense in the country. 50.4 points per game in Northwestern State. They want to score early in possessions.
Gary Stewart, the junior from Vidalia, Louisiana, gets the first bucket of the game. And you see Northwestern State try and give a little pressure in the backcourt.
Full court pressure, high risk, high reward defense versus position and make people miss defense.
And a good matchup between the numbers 32. This time it's Taylor Smith, and that's why he was the Southland Conference Player of the Year.
His 55th dunk of the year, 30% of his points are by dunk.
Daquan Hicks goes right at him and turns it over.
When you can get past Northwestern State and get into gaps, that young man, the Player of the Year, Taylor Smith in the Southland Conference, will make you pay huge.
Smith, a senior from Schertz, Texas, Clemens High School. That's in the San Antonio area. 2 years at McLennan Community College. Last year as a junior, he came off the bench for Stephen F. This year, he's the Player of the Year in the league. Al Bateman, the senior point guard, celebrating his 22nd birthday today. He has an assist and a basket.
He's one of those guys with a little bit of an edge, a little bit of chip on his shoulder. You like that in your point guard.
This is Daquan Hicks, who's the conference newcomer of the year. Smith has the rebound.
Stephen F. Austin wants to get the ball in the hands of number 32 in white. Taylor Smith is their focal point offensively.
And he's guarded by number 32 in purple, Daquan Hicks. 9 to shoot. 4 to shoot. Bateman has to heave it. Fight for the rebound. Off Northwestern State with a tough tumble. Mike McConaty in his 14th season as the Northwestern State head coach. He combined with 16 years he was at Bossier Parish Community College. He has 574 wins coaching basketball, all in Northwest Louisiana.
One of the most unique college basketball coaches in the country. He's like a hockey coach. He comes with waves of players. He will substitute 5 players at a time, and he does it consistently.
This is his 7th conference title game in 14 years at Northwestern State. He went to back-to-back NCAAs in 05 and 06, including the dramatic win over the 3-seed Iowa. Great action in the half court results in a bucket from Jacob Parker.
From Taylor Smith, he's got good vision in the post.
Quick 3 missed by Shamir Davis. Nice dish. Smith can't finish. Second chance, Bostic. 9-2 start for the Lumberjacks.
Number 5, Antonio Bostic, is streaky. When he gets going early, that's a good sign for Stephen F. Austin.
Ravens keep it.
Scoring team in the country, the #1 team in generating new possessions. Northwestern State, and a new wave has now come in. Wave 1 back in the game.
So this is the starting 5 after a rest for Northwestern State. The #1 scoring team in the country. Northwestern State against the #1 scoring defense in the country, Stephen F. Austin. Bateman into the paint. Finds Smith, who's fouled, going up for the dunk.
This is what I love about Taylor Smith coming from Bateman. He takes no prisoners going to the rim. He is going to rim rattle that thing on your head.
As good as the offensive numbers are for Taylor Smith, you see 3 blocks per game. He has 88 of them on the year. It begins at Stephen F. Austin with defense.
He's the defensive player of the year in the Southland Conference. So here's a guy that's player of the year and defensive player of the year in the Southland Conference. He does everything. He's very coachable, he's smart, and he's really, really tough inside.
Mr. Gregarious, he is the big man on campus in Nacogdoches, Texas. This is Hicks, rejected by Taylor Smith. Block number 89 for the senior.
On one end, he dunks it on your head. On the other end, he rejects you right in your face. Taylor Smith, one of the great players you probably have never heard of for Stephen F. Austin.
And he has shut out DeQuan Hicks so far. Hicks gets bumped by it's on Hal Bateman, and that is his second. So the senior point guard for Stephen F. Austin gets his second foul at the 12:15 mark. Now he has to come out, and the freshman Pinckney against the aggressive Northwestern State defense at the point.
This is a big moment in this game. 12:15 in the first half, and your starting point guard has to sit against one of the best teams at turning you over in the country.
Fight for the loose ball, won by Northwestern State. Shot clock didn't reset. Dish inside, that's a blocking foul called on Pinckney on the floor, sending us to an official timeout with the question, what does the legend of Chief Cato have to do with the Southland Conference Championship between these two teams? In Katy, Texas, the Southland Conference Championship matches Northwestern State and Stephen F. Austin. Now, we asked you before the break, what does the legend of Chief Cato have to do with the Southland Conference Championship? Well, they're in football, they battle for the Chief Cato Trophy. The legend, more or less, is Chief Cato, the American Indian chief told one of his sons to walk east from the Sabine River and the other to walk west. Each one settled what we now know as the towns of Natchitoches, Louisiana, where Northwestern State is based, and Nacogdoches, Texas, where Stephen F. Austin is based, about 100 miles apart, separated by the Sabine River. Very similar spellings, both coming from the Caddo language.
You are a veritable font of useful historical knowledge today, partner.
And yes, it is Nacogdoches, Texas, on the Lone Star State side, Natchitoches, Louisiana, on the Northwestern State side. And as my mom pointed out, Steel Magnolias was filmed in Natchitoches, Louisiana.
You know, I saw that movie. Sally Fields.
You sure you want to admit this?
Olympia Dukakis. It was date night. Julia Roberts, Shirley MacLaine, Steel Magnolia.
Question is, did you cry?
Yes, I always cried every day.
First bucket of the game for Daquan Hicks. An 8-0 run by Northwestern State to tie it at 11 after the hot start by the Lumberjacks. Northwestern State, that is pronounced Natchitoches, Louisiana, and famous alum, that would be A-Bear. Not far from Shreveport, Bossier City area. Hicks steals the inbounds, gets fouled, and heads to the free throw line again. Daquan Hicks, the junior, who worked his tail off to get back for the Southland Conference tournament following a pretty serious foot injury.
Yeah, broken foot, he's come back at 3 weeks later, really got into the basketball game last night, performed very, very well in the semifinals. A very emotional player, and he brings that edge to this basketball team.
Hicks, originally from Racine, Wisconsin. His basketball journey takes him through New Mexico Junior College. Now his first year at the Division I level. He's the Southland Conference Newcomer of the Year. And 11.7 rebounds in the semifinal win over Sam Houston State. Decision here by Danny Caspar to bring his senior point guard back in with 2 fouls.
Boy, I would attack him off the dribble first opportunity when he's playing defense.
That's number 4, Hal Bateman, bringing it up right now for Stephen F. Austin. Sat less than a minute with 2 personals.
He's a guy that does not have a perimeter jump shot game. He's strictly off the dribble, so look for the purple jerseys to set him up for the charge as well.
Into Walkup, and Thomas Walkup, the redshirt freshman from Pasadena, Texas.
I like Thomas Walkup. Very smart, blue-collar guy, good athlete, understands his role with the Stephen F. Austin team, which I could say about everybody in the white jersey.
Their brother Nathan played at Texas A&M. Walkup can't control that rebound, and the Demons keep it. So Stephen F. Austin, Texas, from Nacogdoches, Texas. Don Henley didn't graduate, but he went there. Bum Phillips got his degree. The Lumberjacks in Northeast Texas. Only NCAA tournament appearance 2009. Hicks from the baseline, and Daquan Hicks getting into the flow.
Constant full court pressure. It can create turnovers, and it wears opponents down. They're so effective in the last 10 minutes of a basketball game, Northwestern State, because they wear you down.
Into Taylor Smith. Hicks tried to draw the charge. No call. Smith gets the bucket.
When Taylor Smith turns over his left shoulder, he almost always goes that right-hand jump hook.
And a blocking foul on the other end. If it's on Bateman, that is number 3. And it is. The 3rd personal foul on the senior point guard for Stephen F. Austin, Hal Bateman.
And this is what we talked about. Take Bateman off the dribble. Understand game circumstance and attack the guy who has 2 fouls. And now Danny Caspar gambled and lost.
Bateman came into the game with his 2nd personal foul. And a minute after checking in, gets his 3rd. So now can the freshman number 10, Trey Pinckney, and Desmond Heyman handling that point guard duty, keep from turning it over against the aggressive Northwestern State D. Hicks fouls. Well, Selection Sunday is, of course,
Ball club has got incrementally better throughout the season. I think they're dangerous in the NCAA tournament.
Josh Pastner, who hails from this area, Houston, Texas.
And you know, today I watched the Conference USA Championship game, and I'll tell you, Southern Miss under Donnie Tyndall, that looks like an NCAA tournament team to me. That team could sneak in at the 12th hour.
Inside foul called on Gary Robertson. 16 fouls now for Northwestern State. Bonus with 17 fouls. So next Demon foul, and Stephen F. Austin shoots for the rest of the half. Shooting foul here since Desmond Heyman, the junior from Durant, Mississippi, academic all-conference, who had the game winner to beat Northwestern State 2 weeks ago in that second regular season matchup.
One thing that's interesting about watching Danny Casper's team at Stephen F. Austin, they know who they are. They know to get the ball in the paint. Right now, points in the paint, +8, 12-4. They know their identity offensively and defensively, and they execute so well.
Stephen F. Austin started this game 11-3. Demons have fought back in it. And a tough runner goes for Shamir Davis, the senior from Shreveport's Huntington High School.
For every made basket, you know you're going to just see full court, all-out pressure.
Rather than the quick trigger, pull it out and run the half court.
If you don't have anything, but you know what? It's not good enough just to break their pressure. You got to score against their pressure because they really get spread and they get out of position.
Trouble at the high post. Back out to Pinckney, the freshman who's playing the point because of the foul trouble for Hal Bateman. Northwestern State on the run. Davis to the rim, and the foul.
Shamir Davis sees the gap, exposes the gap. He made a big 1-and-1 last night with 13 seconds to go to ensure the victory. He's not afraid to take and make big shots. Shamir Davis.
Shamir Davis, who wears number 3 this year in his senior season. He changed from the number 0 to the number 3 in memory of his late cousin, Robert Farmer, who was killed last spring in Shreveport. Robert Farmer wore number 3. So that is why Shamir Davis changed his number for his senior year. This is Shamir Davis running Northwestern State.
Long rebounds lead to easy offense at times for this team.
Foul on the floor. And that is the 3rd foul on Trey Pinckney. So now both the senior point guard, Hal Bateman, and the freshman point guard, Trey Pinckney, each have 3 personal fouls for Stephen F. Austin. Davis gets the front end.
And so now Northwestern State, they recognize the foul situation the last time, and they attack Bateman, who got his 3rd foul. Now they're going to go after Pinckney.
Davis gets them both, 10 first half points. And Northwestern State, after trailing 11-3 in the opening minutes of this basketball game, has come back to grab a 4-point edge on Stephen F. Austin and one of the nation's most aggressive defenses. Northwestern State has put both of the Stephen F. Austin point guards in foul trouble.
And as Stephen F. Austin is in foul trouble, what does Mike McConaughey do? Brings in a wave of 3 fresh legs.
Bostic for 3. Big rebound grab by Jalen West. 3 goes down, and it's a 10-0 run for Northwestern State. A 10-0 run for the Demons to take command. Well, for the first few minutes of this game, no question that Stephen F. Austin was controlling tempo, controlling the game. Now it's Northwestern State style.
The tempo has changed because of long, early jump shots. The #1 scoring team in the country and also #4 in steals. This team turns defense into immediate offense.
And Northwestern State comes out of the timeout aggressive in the full court. Inside, Smith! Count it, that's a goaltend call. Bucket for Smith on a goaltend by O.J. Evans.
Let's see if the ball is on its downward arc. It's close.
6 first-half points for Taylor Smith, the Southland Conference Player of the Year.
Little 2-3 zone now from Stephen F. Austin to try to take away dribble penetration routes.
Instead, another foul as Hicks gets to the rim. That is the first on Taylor Smith. 18 fouls on Stephen F. Both teams will be shooting free throws for the rest of the half. This is Daquan Hicks, leading scorer and rebounder for Northwestern State, a junior from New Mexico Junior College, originally from Wisconsin.
He was very emotional after that tough victory last night in the semifinals, and he is hungry. He's a big dude that throws his body around, plays with reckless abandon.
And after a slow start, he has 7 points in the game now for Northwestern State.
Look at O.J. Evans. He kind of shields toward that left-hand side to try to take away that pass into the corner.
Freshman point guard Pinckney brings it up, playing with 3 fouls in his hometown of Katy, Texas.
And pounded inside, number 32, Taylor Smith again. Go to the well again.
Instead, it's Heyman. Pull up over Hicks.
Smart play. He can beat you off the dribble when you get spread. Good athlete.
Look inside. Finished off by O.J. Evans.
Very unusual to get that easy of a basket that early in the shot clock against the #1 defensive team in the country, holding their opponents to just over 50 points per game.
Smith around Hicks.
Boy, is he good inside. Strong. Northwestern State in their full court offense.
Last year, now he's trying to play Ole Miss into the NCAA tournament. Heyman misses the front end. Smith for the offensive rebound.
It's a big possession right here. Turnover.
And then a foul call on Parker. And so you go all the way back down to the other end for a 1-and-1. First on Parker, but 9 fouls now against Stephen F. Austin.
You almost get the feel that Stephen F. Austin right now, they're buying time until they can get Bateman back in the basketball game.
Robinson misses the front end. Starting point guard Bateman has been sitting for 8 minutes now with 3 personals.
Good look.
Smith kicks it out. Heyman gets the 3.
Taylor Smith looked over his right shoulder, found a wide open teammate right there. Well executed inside-out basketball.
1-point game again. Demons keep it for the moment.
Watch Taylor Smith inside number 32 when he catches. Stop right there. See how he looks to the backside? And his teammate's wide open, Desmond Heyman. Good inside-out basketball, good instinct to look over your shoulder quickly. That's the key.
Initial call on that out of bounds was Northwestern State. Officials got together and gave it to the Lumberjacks. Into Smith again, back to Heyman again. This time it doesn't go, but a fight for the rebound. Won by Northwestern State. Davis fouled. Safe to say that Northwestern State is putting pressure on the Stephen F. Austin defense that has been so tremendous, not just this year, but the last couple of years.
It's also safe to say that Danny Casper and his basketball team right now, they are hanging around even with their foul trouble. Well-disciplined basketball team. He's an old school guy.
Goes back to working John Wooden basketball camps.
Yeah, his high school coach was Mike Hunstad at Corpus Christi Carroll. He learned a lot from him, and he turned him on to John Wooden, and used to go to Southern California back in the 80s to go to the John Wooden basketball camps. And they'd all show up to breakfast early in order to listen to Coach Wooden every morning talk about basketball and all the stories of UCLA. What a great learning experience for Danny Casper.
Amazing how many of the coaching trees include Coach Wooden.
Well, all of us in one way or another.
6 to shoot. Pinckney has to give it up into the corner for Bostic. Big 3 with a shot clock winding down from Antonio Bostic. And Stephen F. controls for the last shot.
What a gutty first half by Stephen F. Austin.
And a chance to close it out with the lead.
They like Smith on the block in this situation. 32 in white, matched up on the same side with Desmond Heyman, number 25 in white.
5 to shoot. Pinckney finds Smith. Count it! Just before the shot clock, just before. Led by as many as 8. The Lumberjacks go on a 9-1 run to close the half. And Stephen F. Austin in the white jerseys, the #1 seed, the regular season champs. A 27-3 mark on the season against Northwestern State in purple.
The #1 defense in the country, Stephen F. Austin, has not given up 70 points for 62 consecutive games. Northwestern State at 34 right now.
10 to shoot for the Lumberjacks, and a foul on Northwestern State. Looks like it's on Patrick Robinson. Correction, it is on Gary Stewart. That's his first. Hal Bateman, #4, back in to run the point for Stephen F. Austin. He sat the last 10+ minutes of the first half after getting his 3rd personal foul.
Look how soft they are against Hal Bateman. They basically dare him to shoot the perimeter jump shot. He doesn't have perimeter jump shot skills necessarily.
Bateman, the senior point guard who celebrates his 22nd birthday today. Taylor Smith turns it over. Davis goes right at Bateman. Leans in and hits. A design play to have Davis go right at Bateman.
Boy, he lowered his shoulder and got leverage in the paint and just exploded to the basket.
13 points for Shamir Davis, the senior lefty point guard from Shreveport. Parker misses the three. That's Robinson finding Hicks. DeQuan Hicks has 9, and Northwestern State has the first 4 points of the second half.
Northwestern State now pounding it inside, taking a page out of Stephen F. Austin's playbook. Stephen F. Austin just so disciplined. They don't mind shot clock running down.
And a foul with a shot clock under 10 this time. That's on Evans.
Watch Shamir Davis. Watch his shoulder slant as he drops his shoulder right there. He gets down low and just drops that shoulder and goes right to the basket. Quick, explosive.
And he has drawn those critical fouls.
That's when you force 2 defenders to guard you, there's a good chance somebody's going to foul you and you're going to get to the free throw line.
Bostic hits a runner. First bucket of the second half for Stephen F. Austin. 11 in the game now for Bostic, the senior from Kansas.
You know, everybody talks about, rightfully so, Taylor Smith, but a lot of great working parts of the Stephen F. Austin basketball team.
Only one made three-pointer in the game for Northwestern State.
Good discipline.
Heyman. Demons on the run. Hicks couldn't save it. F. Austin for the Southland Championship and a spot in the NCAA tournament.
Just got a good look at Taylor Smith, the player of the year in the Southland, the defensive player of the year in the Southland, the #1 field goal percentage shooter in the country at 69%. Taylor Smith, number 32 in white. Watch him work the left side block.
This is Smith right now. And now he'll head down to the block. Bostic.
Tough shot.
Tough result. Shamir Davis leads Northwestern State with 13 points today. Davis will head to the free throw line after drawing the 4th foul on Hal Bateman, the senior point guard for Stephen F. Austin. And this is a worrisome development for the Lumberjacks.
Hal Bateman is the guy that manages Danny Casper's offense. And now he's going to have to sit. Credit Shamir Davis, who is a very crafty left-hander. Usually we use that term for baseball pitchers. This kid, though, watch the head fake right there. Lift fake, and then he jumps right into it. He knows he's got 3 fouls. He baited him into the foul.
Would that be a good example of utilizing the shot fake?
No question. Bob Knight would love it.
And yet Davis can't convert to the free throw line. Demons still lead by 5. Stephen F. turns it over again. So the first time down after Bateman picks up his 4th, Stephen F. Austin turns it over against the pressure.
Well, this team reacted so quickly out of the free throw situation. They went right into their trapping defense.
9 steals by Northwestern State. They average 10 a game. That's 4th in the nation. Davis misses at the rim.
Stephen F. Austin, they're going to be disciplined. The key for them is to get motion to and fro, to reverse the ball. That's when Taylor Smith is at his best.
Smith takes it on the post, draws 3 defenders. Walk up, kicks out Heyman. White attacks. floater for Bryson White. 7-point advantage for Northwestern State.
He is an energy giver. Bryson White, leaper, fast, energy giver.
Matches the largest lead of the game for Northwestern State. Foul reaching over on O.J. Evans.
Bryson White is explosive. Why? The gene pool's pretty good. His mother was a high jumper at Wichita State. Apparently, that gene pool runs deep in Bryson White.
Part of that second 5 unit that Mike McConaughey uses a tournament challenge. Carter Blackburn, Mark Adams, our crew from Katy, Texas, on the west side of the Houston area. It's the #1 seed. Stephen F. Austin won the regular season in the Southland. 27-3 on the year. One of those 3 losses for Stephen F. Austin was to Northwestern State. Demons led by as many as 9, and now back comes Stephen F. Austin, the Lumberjacks. That's Gary Stewart from Vidalia, Louisiana, banking it home.
Carter, remember the waves of players that came off the bench early in the game. This is typically where legs start wearing down. But because of the minute distribution from 25 to 15 between 10 players, still fresh bodies in the game for Northwestern State.
Stephen F. Austin has gone on this run with their senior point guard on the bench the last 4 minutes. It's number 10, the freshman Trey Pinckney, running the point. Desmond Haymond is fouled on the way to the rim.
Watch Gary Stewart turn the corner. Explodes the basket right there. It's kind of like one of those old YMCA players you play against. Just a smart guy. He saw the opening, took it right to him. Got a big steal last night. A semifinal win.
That sends Haymond to the free throw line. Haymond, who has carried a pretty good portion of the load for Stephen F. Austin. Now 14 in the game. He is now Stephen F. Austin's leading scorer. On the year, he averages 10 points a game. Academic All-Conference, junior from Durant, Mississippi. Mentioned before, he had the game winner to beat Northwestern State 2 weeks ago in Stephen F.'s payback win at home in Nacogdoches, Texas.
And now it's about all those half-court defensive sessions at Stephen F. Austin throughout the year. Danny Casper has prepared his team very well. 27-3 on the season. This is where they get it done.
Into the corner. Rims out. Second chance. Frazier gets the board. Shamir Davis attacks. Count the bucket. And a foul on Trey Pinckney. His 4th.
Shamir Davis. He knows Pinckney has 3. He wants to pick up another foul on him, and he gets it.
Well, Shamir Davis has been the difference for Northwestern State, not just the points. Shamir Davis has 16 in the game now, but hanging the fouls on Bateman and Pinckney both.
He's wearing them out right now, and this is not necessarily a deep team. And obviously, Northwestern State is a very deep team.
Bostic into the paint. He draws a foul on Bryson White, earns a trip to the line.
Northwestern State just went to a box-and-1. They're matched up with Desmond Haymond in their one-on-one situation, and that's very smart recognition by Stephen F. Austin when you're going against a box-and-1. Run your man offense and attack off the dribble. Well executed, well recognized.
2 shots here for Antonio Bostic, the senior from Shawnee, Kansas. Second year out of Neosho County Community College. He's the second leading scorer for Stephen F. Austin.
Mike McConaughey always shows different wrinkles. He's always going to do something outside the box against you. That time, the box-and-1.
15 in the game now for Boston.
Stephen F. Austin was successful defending the last possession, but then gave up the second shot.
Gary Robertson knocks down the three. Eight-point lead for Northwestern State. But too easy for Heyman to get to the rim again.
That time they matched up with Bostic. Bostic in the box and one and took it off the dribble. Desmond Heyman, a smart kid.
Davis. Long two, rims out. Stephen F. Austin trailing by 6. The regular season champ. Smith! Fouled and he finishes.
Sometimes when you go to junk defenses, you don't react as well in transition. And that time, Taylor Smith makes Northwestern State pay. They were coming back to man-to-man, weren't communicating, and Smith got behind the defenders.
Oh, you don't see many scrums before the play. Into Daquan Hicks, stripped. Demons recover.
Yeah, they really want Hicks to get the basketball here. Late game, they go to him a lot. There he is.
Guarded by Taylor Smith. Hicks draws the double, reverse it into the corner. Davis drives and hits. How tough has Shamir Davis been today for Northwestern State?
3 extra passes to finally get the ball back to Davis. Inside out and reversal.
19 in the game for Shamir Davis. Bostic, good look. Smith to the free throw line again. So Taylor Smith, who hit his first free throw by way of the glass on his last trip. Only you see 47% on the year, 1 for 6 today. The leading scorer and rebounder for Stephen F. Austin. And he is now 1 for 7 from the line.
We're seeing a hack-a-shack strategy. Every time he gets the ball in the paint now, they're just spending a foul on him, put him on the line. When you shoot 70% from the floor, you might as well put him on the free throw line when he shoots 47.
1 of 2. 2-point game.
Typically, Mike McConaughey likes to look for Daquan Hicks, number 32, on the block. There he is.
Goes right at Smith.
Drama Bowl versus Drama Bowl.
Foul called on Northwestern State. Smith gets tangled up.
Watch Daquan Hicks. Watch him just lower his shoulder. Watch him get lower. When you're a post guy and you get lower than the defender, that's advantage to the offensive player, and that's what Hicks did. He was more explosive.
No foul called on Northwestern State, but it's off of the Demons' Stephen F. Ball. Stephen F. Austin, the Lumberjacks from Nacogdoches, Texas, in the white uniforms. Northwestern State, the Demons from Natchitoches, Louisiana, in purple.
I'd like to see something off the dribble here.
That's something off the dribble. Desmond Heyman getting to the free throw line.
I think Northwestern State is susceptible off the dribble. Also, when you've played 3 games in 3 days, oftentimes your jump shots run short. A lot of front rimmers. How do you counteract that? You put the ball on the floor, you draw contact, you get to the glass.
Heyman gets the first. Reminder, NBA Sunday Showcase features East versus West. It's the Knicks against the Clippers. 3:30 Eastern on ABC. Coverage begins at 3 Eastern with Kia NBA Countdown. Here in Katy, Texas, on the west side of Houston, a 3-point game. 2:22 to go for the Southland Championship. Make it a 2-point game. Carter Blackburn, Mark Adams, and a good one going down to the wire between Northwestern State and Stephen F. Austin.
because of the depth for Northwestern State, I think they can still afford to go inside out when they're balanced for jump shots.
West finds Hicks, who finishes. DeQuan Hicks finishes to put Northwestern State up by 4. Hopefully West will be able to return to this game for Northwestern State. Under 2 to go.
Little token full court pressure there, dropping back into zone.
Heyman recovers. Bostic.
Short.
Smith gets the rebound. Second chance for Stephen F. Austin. Heyman hits the floater. Desmond Heyman makes it a 2-point game again. .23 in the game now for Desmond Heyman. Timeout Northwestern State. 1:19 to go. We're back.
He's under control, always in attack mode.
23 in the game for the junior from Durant, Mississippi. Northwestern State basketball trying to pull off the upset here in the Southland Conference Championship against the Stephen F. Austin team, who's 27-3 on the year.
Jalen West back in the game, number 12. There he is.
5 to shoot. West, deep 3. Fight for the loose ball, won by Northwestern State. Second chance for the Demons with less than a minute to go. Davis gets fouled by Antonio Bostic. Stephen F. Austin still 2 seconds away in a 2-point game. This is Hicks. The freshman West. You can see the 6-second differential between shot and game clock.
Hicks is up top. He may be a pick and roll or a pick and pop guy. Watch 32. Watch what he does once he sets the screen.
West and Hicks. 9 to shoot. West loses the dribble. 5 to shoot. Jalen West pulls up, heaves it, misses. It will be Stephen F. Austin basket.
Hughlin, number 33 in purple, is a guy I'd want deep in order to challenge any shot by the basket.
Nate Knee, the freshman, to inbound. It goes into Walkup. Off one dribble, he turns it over. Northwestern State will win, and the Demons are headed